Welcome to Lexington County Public Library with me, Miss Josie. We're going to have a quick story time today and read this book called The Invisible Boy, written by Trudy Ludwig and illustrated by Patrice Barton, read with permission by Penguin Random House. The Invisible Boy. Can you see Brian? The invisible boy? Even Miss Carlotti has trouble noticing him in her classroom. She's too busy dealing with Nathan and Sophie. Do you see him? Nathan has problems with what Miss Carlotti calls volume control. He uses his outside voice inside too much. Sophie whines and complains when she doesn't get her way. Nathan and Sophie take up a lot of space. Brian doesn't. When the bell rings for recess, Micah and JT take turns choosing kids for their kickball teams. The best players get picked first, then the best friends of the best players, then the friends of the best friends. Only Brian is left, still waiting and hoping. JT glances in Brian's direction and just as quickly looks away. We've got enough players for each team, he yells to the others. Let's play ball! In the cafeteria, Madison and her friends talk about her birthday party. The rope swing over the pool was awesome, says JT. Yeah, so was the water slide, adds Fiona. That was the best pool party ever. I'm so glad you guys had fun, says Madison. Everybody did, except Brian. He wasn't invited. At choosing time, while the other kids played board games and read, Brian sits at his table, doing what he loves to do best. He draws fire-breathing dragons, scaling tall buildings. Thank you for toasting my marshmallow. Space aliens locked in intergalactic battles. I got you now. And greedy pirates digging for treasure. Crackers, arrgh, yay! And superheroes with the power to make friends wherever they go. Hi, friend, I have a cookie. On Monday morning, Miss Carlotti introduces Justin, a new student, to the class. Brian smiles shyly at him. Some of the other kids sneak looks at Justin, trying to figure out if he's cool enough to be their friend. They haven't quite made up their minds yet. At lunch, Madison and JT watch Justin eat with chopsticks. What's that? Asks Madison as she points at Justin's food. It's bulgogi. Bul what? Bulgogi. It's Korean barbecue beef. My grandma made it for me. It's really good. Do you want to try some? There's no way I'd eat booger-gogi. And the kids laughed. All of them, that is, except Brian. He sits there wondering which is worse, being laughed at or feeling invisible. The next day, when Justin goes to his cubby to put away his backpack, he notices a piece of paper with his name on it. Justin, I thought bulgogi looked good. Brian, yum. At morning recess, Brian finds a piece of chalk on the ground and starts drawing away. You're Brian, right? Yeah. Thanks for the note. Hey, Justin, Emilio calls from the tetherball court. You're up next. Sorry, I gotta go, says Justin. By the way, that's a really cool drawing, he adds before taking off. Back in class, Miss Carlotti asks the kids to team up in 2s or 3s for a special project. The kids scurry around the room to pair off. Brian heads towards Justin. I'm already with Justin, says Emilio. Find someone else. Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. Miss Carlotti said we could have up to 3 people in our group. We're only 2. Come on, Emilio, let him work with us. Okay, I guess. Miss Carlotti gives the class directions for the project. Your assignment is to work together to write a story about what you see in the photograph. Use your imagination and have fun. Whoa, cool, says Emilio. What kind of people do you think would live in houses like that? I don't know, but I bet Brian could draw them to go with our story, says Justin. Brian smiles as he takes out his lucky pen. On the chalkboard it says, "The crooked story we made up on the spot." It's lunchtime again, Brian's least favorite part of the day. Another 20 long minutes of kids talking and laughing with everyone else but him. "Brian!" he hears someone shout. "Hey, Brian! Over here!" Brian turns and sees Justin waving him over. Emilio nods at Brian as he makes room for him at the table. "Cookie? Thanks!" Maybe, just maybe, Brian isn't so invisible after all. The end. So, let's talk about a few things from this book. I want to point out something that the illustrator, remember the illustrator is the person who draws the pictures. The illustrator's name is Patrice Barton. If you look at the way she drew the pictures, let's see if you can notice something about Brian. Where's Brian in this picture? Yep, he's right there. Do you notice anything different about him and the other children? That's right, all the other children are drawn in color, and Brian is black and white. I guess that's the artist's way of showing that he feels invisible. There he is again, feeling invisible. There he is at lunch alone. Still feels invisible, doesn't he? But I want you to notice something. Look right here. Do you see there's a tiny bit of color coming to his face? What brings that about? Look, he's drawing and he's talking to his new friend, Justin, right? And look, he's starting to get a little bit of color. Maybe that means he's not as invisible because Justin sees him, right? And Justin talks to him. But look, in this picture, when the other boy tries to take Justin for his group, he feels invisible again and he's all black and white. But then he gets chosen and they're gonna work in a team of 3. And look, he's not invisible anymore and he gets more color. And look at him here. He's completely colored in. And he's making friends and he's no longer invisible. He feels like he's seen. Isn't that sweet? Because we all just want to be seen by other people, don't we? None of us want to feel invisible. This book is really about kindness, isn't it? The kind things that other people do for each other. Whether it's being kind to a new student in class, or sharing your lunch with people, or writing somebody a note just to say hi or thank you, playing with others, inviting people to your party, working on an assignment and not having anybody feel excluded. Those are all kind things that you can do every day. What are some other kind things that you could do? Let's think about it. Maybe you could do something kind for somebody and help them not feel invisible. I want to take a minute to talk about something in this book. Sometimes when we're reading, there's words we come across that we don't know what they are. And I just want you to know that I too sometimes don't know what something means. And in this book, there was a word that stumped me. Can you guess what it was? Invisible is a hard word, but I knew that. It's this one. It was his food. The little boy that was from Korea, he had bulgogi. And I had to look that up and ask a friend how to say that. And then I went on the internet and used a pronunciation thing to make sure that I said it right for you guys. But I just want you to know there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Even we have to do it sometimes. So, we were talking about kindness. And sometimes random acts of kindness can bring a smile to someone's day. So, I painted some rocks that we had with just some simple messages. Love and be kind. And I'm going to put these out in our friend's garden. And you could paint rocks at home and put sweet messages on them and leave them outside of a friend's house maybe, or put them in somebody's garden so that they'll randomly see them, and maybe that will bring a smile to someone's day. So remember, guys, be kind. Love you, miss you, hope to see you soon. Bye.